With the latest ban list from Bushiroad, I'm seeing a lot of talk about Spike Brothers GB8 Turbo and Fenrir OTK being the strongest decks in the meta. Now, Spike's GB8 Turbo is very difficult to beat, however what I can do is build a deck that can beat Fenrir OTK, and that is Claret Revolt. For the deck, we have 3 copies of Claret Revolt, 2 copies of the original Claret Dragon to give you access to history in the event you don't go against Fenrir OTK, 1 copy of Origin Mage Ildona. I would have liked to play more, but unfortunately there's only room for 1, and 1 copy of Bracing Angel Ladder, because that card is very important just in this clan in general. Then we have the Grade 2s, where we have the Ride Fixer, then Wisdom of Beginning that clears the world, and Tearvault, all of which are played at 4 copies. The Ride Fixer enables us to find our important Grade 1s, along with providing multi-attack. Just bear in mind its on-attack is once per turn, so even if you hit a double stand, you won't be able to use its skill a second time. And Wisdom and Tearvault are the Keter Order package from D-Series, which helps the deck out a reasonable amount. And since we're playing both of those cards, we are also using Sigeon. Then for resource generation, we've got 3 copies of Black Sage Sharon along with 2 Abyss Summoners, and these 2 together are just, you essentially have infinite CB to work with. Though you'll also want to make sure you have the correct Claret in hand for whichever matchup you're going into, and for that we have 2 copies of Cherishing Knight Branwen. And as for how you play against Fenrir OTK, well, it's quite simple. You have D-Series PGs, which say, when put on Guardian Circle, meaning that you can move them from Rearguard to Guardian and they will activate. Claret Dragon Revolt says that when he's attacked, you can move a Grade 1 Rearguard to Guardian Circle, and then if you have none, he gets an extra 2000 power. 2000 power isn't particularly relevant, however, moving the Grade 1 to Guardian Circle is, since that allows you to move Ezras there to nullify it, but at the cost of discard 1. However, Fenrir OTK does have access to another card, which is Blethen, which will essentially just allow them to send all of your PGs that you've just put in back row to the bottom of the deck. So in order to combat this, we are instead going with 3 different named D-Series PGs, all of which have identical skills. Meaning that Blethen will only remove 1. And that combined with Deep Griever, and if you get through enough of your deck, you could even use Bronak after that to guarantee a PG from the top of your deck, will give you about 5 PGs, not including what might be in your hand. Then we have the trigger units, which is the draw PG I alluded to earlier. Then there's 4 Heal Guardian, 4 draw crits, in part because Cloud can make more effective use of them than Luard, where I normally see them played, just because I normally only see Luard being played in terms of Shadow Paladin. Then 4 Raven. Honestly, not particularly important in this deck. You can very easily swap out some of the Raven for more Stride crits, which we're running at 2 of. And as for the OT, we have the Purple OT. Then very quickly we have 1 V-Series starter, because what other starter are we going to run? Moving on to the G-Zone, we have the mandatory one of Harmonix Messiah, then we're running 2 Morfessa, as you probably won't need the last one, though if you want to you can cut the last card I'm going to mention for another Morfessa, though you probably won't need it. Then there's 2 Darklight Grim Recruiters for the History Stride, then 2 Dragabis Luard, which will be essentially just be your first stride against Fenrir OTK, as this will mean that you just need to get 1 D-Series PG and then Dragabis can get you the other 2. After that we have 2 Dark Dragon Phantom Blast Diablo, because I'm never not going to play this in 2 copies for the random Geese matchup. And then finally we have a Drag Anger Ogma, which, yeah, you can cast it for a Morfessa, you won't really be missing out on much, but it can come up, and I just felt it was more useful than having 3 Morfessa. As for the G Guardians, most important one is Dark Dragon Deep Griever Dragon, as Claret doesn't return Grade 1s to deck by himself, so getting the Grade 1s back into the deck to keep your resource generation going is definitely needed. We then have 1 copy of Bronak, which again is just a potential PG, or alternatively just bolster Ritual early if you need to. There we have 1 copy of Witch Queen of Antiquity Jellydew, which is essentially just using Claret's ability twice instead of once, and if you can do that, great, you get to draw a card. And finally, probably the least relevant one, is a 1-of copy of Dark Rail. Honestly, most of the time, this is probably what I'd recommend flipping for Jellydew, though there are some situations where just having a giant shield is needed. Anyway, that does it for the deck profile. For the Claret Sword Dragon Revolt deck I made to beat Fenrir OTK. As per usual, there's a deck log code, which in this case is 5PBKE. And honestly, the deck isn't all that strong into anything other than Fenrir OTK. However, one thing it definitely has going for it is it is incredibly fun to play.